It's the Brad and John Show.
And it is May 12th, 2025. This is the C Block, which means we start right around 7:45 or so. We're late this morning. 7:40. We're late this morning because of Brad's screw up, and I'll take the blame. Okay, John, you're Mr. Stock Market Guru, okay? With all the stuff that's been in the news over the weekend, with supposedly a new trade deal with China, with this deal with pharmaceutical prices coming down because within an hour, a little bit over an hour from now, Trump's supposed to sign some bill which is supposed to reduce pharmaceutical prices by 30 to 80%. What's the stock market doing, John? What's the futures saying right now?
I haven't seen the futures this morning, but I expected today. And you know, the unique thing, and by the way, Brad, I appreciate the compliment. I am not a stock market guru. I'm a guy that pays a little bit of attention and tries to rub the change from his couch cushions together to have a little bit of retirement. What was curious last week, which made a lot of sense to me over the weekend, was the market was performing really well last week for no good reason. And sometimes we try to make up narratives. We try to tell stories about, well, the market should be doing this because of X, Y, Z. The fundamentals of the market last week, it made no sense without getting too deep into detail. We had volatility completely decrease, so the amount that stocks would move up or down quickly. Volatility plummeted. What that tells me, Brad, is that a lot of people, or at least certain people, knew that this was coming. So as the guy that I follow every day and read every day, Keith McCullough from Hedgeye, always says, somebody always knows something. So I'm looking forward, as soon as we get off the air, Brad, I'm going to start listening to the macro show, which starts at 8 Central on Hedgeye. And I'm going to listen to Keith explain this. But as he says, somebody always knows something. In other words, probably people were tipped off last week, and folks with a lot of money and control over a lot of money went long or bought more of the S&P, more tech stocks, more stocks that were affected by tariffs, because there's no good reason last week why the market was up.
So you do think it's going to be a big market rally today? I mean, if you...
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah. And I wouldn't attribute that really to the pharma piece. And I think that's it. I think that's at 8 Central. I think Trump said it's 9 Eastern. I could be wrong, though. But I wouldn't attribute it to that. I would think about any time that Trump says anything about backing off a tariff deal, the market rips. Let's not forget, Brad, that it was probably 3 weeks ago we saw the NASDAQ, so the main technology index. We saw the NASDAQ up almost 10 points in one day when there was just the rumor that Trump was going to back off these tariffs.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens. The pharmaceutical thing, the basis on that is, and I've done a little reading on this, that if you've heard about, and probably heard of people talk about, well, I get my medications from Canada. I have a friend of mine that lives in Canada, and they buy the meds for me, and then they send them down here in the United States, and I pay a third of what I would in the United States. Essentially, what I understand, he's going to sign some kind of an order, an EO, as they call it now, that whatever the average price these medications are selling for around the world, that will be the price that the drug manufacturers will be forced to sell in the United States. Is that sort of what you've heard?
Yeah, and my only source of that, Brad, this morning, early morning, I read a Trump tweet on Truth Social where he said exactly that. In other words, you wouldn't be paying more in the United States than you would be paying at other countries. And so, look, I got to admit, Brad, when it comes to pharmaceutical prices and the pricing, I understand none of it. And I do understand, though, that, it's probably not unrelated to the example that you gave last week, and I teased you about it, but I didn't understand that either, which is the idea that a company will sell a car for a certain price in Japan and sell it for a radically higher price in the United States.
Well, it's not necessarily the same car. They're selling different versions of it. I mean, they've already talked about, you familiar with this Chinese company I think it's called BYD. You familiar with them?
No, I'm not.
They make the electric cars in China, and supposedly now United States, they can't import in the United States, but they're importing them in Mexico. And I read some article where they're saying that like half the cars that have been bought in the last 6 months in Mexico have been from just this Chinese company, BYD. They're making a very no-frills electric car. And that's what Toyota came out with. We talked about, they have two versions of their small pickup truck. In the United States, it's the Tacoma, and in other parts of the world, it's the Hilux. And Hilux has come out with this, or Toyota's come out with this Hilux variant called the Champ, which the experts have said and it's already being sold in other parts of what they call emerging markets. Same thing with General Motors. They said that if you were to take the exchange rate that the Toyota Hilux Champ would cost $12,000 in the United States. And I'm telling you, already the situation with Ford, when Ford came out with the Maverick pickup truck, you can't find a Maverick pickup truck. When they first came out, you could go on the used car sites, and a lot of dealers had them as well too. You'd see these Ford Mavericks that had like 600 miles on them. They were being sold used. Sticker on them was like, when they first came out, they were $19,999, and they were being sold for $30,000 and $35,000. So people were flipping these cars. They were getting on the wait list, getting one of these Maverick pickup trucks, driving it, like 500 miles, just put miles on it, considered a used car, and then they flip it to a dealer, and the dealer would flip it for like $10,000 over what they paid this guy for. I'm going like, okay, why? See, to me, talk about tariffs. The companies themselves are inflicting this upon the United States citizens. If you can sell a Toyota Hilux Champ in another country, and you could sell it in the United States for $12,000, bring it into the United States and sell it for $20,000, make $8,000 clear profit on the thing, and walk away with a smile on your face. Don't you think, John?
I think that Trump should, first of all, I do agree, walk away with a smile on your face is the key point there. I also think that Trump should go after big tech. Did you hear that Microsoft is killing Skype and trying to force everybody onto Teams? Have you heard anything about this, Brad?
I haven't heard a thing, John. Haven't heard a thing. But you know who's behind that, don't you?
Oh, I don't know. Is it Bill Gates?
No, it's Jordan Hudson, because she doesn't like old things. She likes new, flashy things.
Hey, listen, I'd like to get behind Jordan Hudson.
I'm not going to touch that one. Okay. Over the weekend, I'm a button pusher. We've come up with that. There's a guy, and first off, I'm gonna play a little thing here. This is gonna be an intro to this person right here. Matter of fact, it's interesting because this is the very first drop I put into our system. Okay, you ready, John?
I don't even know where to start from all of the things that have been said that are just wrong.
Okay, this guy was essentially filleting Mary Elizabeth Coleman, and I'm going like, is she like the Dark Knight of the Senate now? What's the deal with her? You know her, right?
Yeah, so I couldn't, because of our setup today, I couldn't hear that clip. What was going on?
Well, apparently.
Well, and what was the clip that you played?
Oh, it's the clip, your favorite one, where she says, let me try it again. I don't know. Here, let me see if I can get this to feed down the line to you. It may not feed. Hold on a minute. Let me try it again.
I don't even know where to start from all of the things that have been said that are just wrong.
You don't hear that then?
I can hear that clip. Yeah. That's our favorite clip from This Week in Missouri Politics.
Right. Part of it was this guy. He says, and once again, sometimes I see these things and my eyes just glaze over. I'm going like, okay, whatever. He's saying that he was going to go for her seat because she's not going to run for a re-election, but now he's just going to be a state rep again.
If you're running in a Republican primary, and again, Mary Elizabeth is not running for re-election, but if you're running in a Republican primary, you better run really far to the right. And the idea that somebody would run to the right of Mary Elizabeth Coleman seems pretty... it seems nonsensical to me. You will recall, Brad, that last year, around this week last year, there was a big controversy about the initiative petition bill. And some folks in the Freedom Caucus were blaming Mary Elizabeth Coleman for the IP bill not moving forward or it not being PQ'd. And there ended up being a dispute between Senator Coleman and Senator Ben Brown of Washington about who was going to carry the bill and what was going to happen. So, we've talked in the past, Brad, that Senator Coleman has never been willing to put on, say, a Freedom Caucus jersey, so to speak, and join the Freedom Caucus or vote with them on everything. It's hard to make the argument that Mary Elizabeth Coleman is not pro-life. Like a woman who's made the signature issue of her career fighting for the pro-life issue, it's hard to make the argument that she's not, quote unquote, truly pro-life.
I heard a rumor, I don't know if it's true or not, I heard a rumor that Bill Eigel is going to move to Colorado, and he's going to enroll in high school in Colorado, and the school is going to change his name. And he's going to move back here to St. Louis, and he's going to move down to Jefferson County, and he's going to run for Mary Elizabeth Coleman's seat, but under a different name.
What's the name?
I don't know. I haven't heard the name.
Oh, I didn't know if the Colorado piece was the setup to a punchline there.
Well, do you know this Colorado story?
No, what happened?
They've passed a bill, I believe it's been signed by the governor, that if you are a student in the Colorado school district, you can have your name, not only your gender, but your name changed by the Colorado education system, and the parents can say nothing about it.
Wow, really?
Yes. So if you are Jimmy Smith and you go to school one day and you're in Colorado and you go, I don't want to be Jimmy Smith, I want to be Emil Fandango, you can go down to the principal's office and say, I don't want to be Jimmy Smith anymore, I want to be Emil Fandango. And apparently they've got some new mechanism where you then go into the court system, and the court essentially says the school district is sort of like the plaintiff, in front of a court system, where the school would say, Jimmy Smith does not like being called Jimmy Smith anymore. He wants to be called Mr. Fandango. And the court system say, okay, from now on, Jimmy Smith, you're no longer Jimmy Smith. You're Eduardo Fandango. And it's perfectly legal. I'm going like, what the hell is this?
I do like the name Fandango. And by the way, I just Googled it, Brad. Henderson sounded wrong to me. The guy's name is David Robertson. So I just Googled this, and this is according to I went back to the Whispering Gallery by Jake Croson. Shout out to Jake Croson. And yeah, the reason why I kept saying Mike Henderson is because David Robertson is also a famous name in Missouri politics. He was a longtime University of Missouri St. Louis political science professor, was often on television. My apologies. The gentleman's name that you heard on the radio, I'm assuming, was David Robertson, who was originally running against Mary Elizabeth Coleman.
CP's going to be mad at you because she already sent that over.
Well, considering we're doing the show on our phones today, I am not able to look at my phone. So thank you, CP. I am not checking my text messages during the show.
Okay, so going back to the Colorado thing, is that bizarre or what?
Yeah, it is. Now, I mean, when you think about it, wasn't Fandango a show on TV in the 70s?
Fandango is the company that sells tickets to the movie theaters and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. It was also a WWE superstar in the late 2000s.
Really? You would know that.
Yeah. Fandango was great. He had a great gimmick. He had a catchy song, which is very important these days,
Catchy song. Okay, but going back to the Colorado thing, you've got kids. Let's say one day your kid comes home and says, hey, Dad, I'm no longer, I'm okay, what would you say? Huh? What? How did that happen, right?
Well, I would say change your name to Hildebrand, run up a lot of debt. And then the courts will just say, yeah, we've dismissed all the Hildebrand cases. He's never going to pay it back. Just,
John, you're always so complimentary.
No, I'm just saying that they could get a free pass from the court system. And local judges would just be like, Mr. Hildebrand, you're not representing yourself today. Are you feeling okay?
Or I could get the ticket for not having insurance, proof of insurance when I gave the county cop after a guy smashed into my truck when he was only 6 months old. Oh, I got my phone ringing. Hold on a minute. You know what? We'll just end the show right there because this is going to beep until somebody, and this is one of my infamous, which I get 20, 30 calls a day. Hi, this is June. Can you hear me okay? And
then you say yes, and then it activates the AI voice, right, Brad?
No, hey. I say no, and then they go, oh, great. I'm going like, this is great AI. It doesn't even know what
Brad,
I'm saying.
I would just like to tell you that you did a tremendous job against all technology odds today in making this show happen. Thank you, Brad.
John, and you're going to make fun of me, but here's the problem. I do have a Microsoft account, but when I went into it, it tells me the password I have is not valid. I'm going like, okay, whatever.
You got 23 hours to reset it, Brad. You got plenty of time.
John, I don't know if I want to do that. I mean, maybe I'm just going to go on strike against Bill Gates. Bill, why did you get?
And you know what? He will lose sleep over it, Brad.
I bet he will. Him and his Jeffrey Epstein tour, right? He's got his video somewhere of, hey, here's me and Jeffrey Epstein on the plane. Who's that little 14-year-old girl? I have no idea. Right?
It was actually Stephen Hawking. Actually, was with the 14-year-old. I'm just kidding, Mr. Hawking. Is he dead or did he die yet? Hawking?
I think he's still alive, but that's a whole other story.
Okay, well,
John.
if you want to call it alive. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow, Brad.